Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. When you start rising, when you start improving, when you start stepping into your greatness, not everybody is going to clap for you. Not everybody is going to be happy for you. Some people, the moment they see you doing better, the moment they see you shining, their energy changes. They start moving differently. They start talking differently. Because deep down, they're not inspired by your success, they're threatened by it. Jealousy is a silent poison. It doesn't always show itself right away. It hides behind fake smiles, behind backhanded compliments, behind subtle actions that, if you're not careful, you might not even notice. But make no mistake, it's there. And if you're someone who is driven, someone who is focused, someone who refuses to settle for mediocrity, then you need to know the signs. Because the more you grow, the more you succeed, the more you push forward, the more jealousy you're going to attract. So today, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the 7 undeniable signs that someone is extremely jealous of you. Let's talk about how to spot it, how to handle it, and most importantly, how to keep moving forward despite it. When you start achieving, when you start stepping into your greatness, there will always be people who try to make it seem like it's nothing. You tell them about your success, you share your progress, and instead of celebrating you, they downplay it. They act like it's not a big deal, like it didn't take hard work, like it didn't take sacrifice. You say you just got a promotion and they say, oh, that's nice, but I've seen people get that all the time. You tell them you've been working on yourself, building something real, and they shrug. Yeah, but let's see if you can actually maintain it. They can't give you your flowers because deep down, your success is a reminder of their own inaction. See, when someone is truly happy within themselves, they don't feel the need to downplay somebody else's success. They celebrate it. They acknowledge it. Because they know what it takes. They know the grind, the late nights, the early mornings, the sacrifices that nobody else sees. But a jealous person? A jealous person sees your success as a threat. It reminds them of what they could be doing, but aren't. It makes them uncomfortable because it forces them to look in the mirror and face the fact that they've been making excuses while you've been making moves. Pay attention to the way people react when you start winning. That energy doesn't lie. When you accomplish something and someone suddenly goes quiet, suddenly avoids the conversation, suddenly acts like it's not a big deal, that's a sign. Because if they truly cared about you, they would be happy for you. They would uplift you. They would say, man, I see you. I see your growth. I see your hard work, and I respect it. But instead, they try to make it small. They try to water it down. Not because it's small to them, but because it's too big for their ego to handle. And you need to understand, that's not about you. That's about them. That's about their own fears, their own insecurities, their own frustrations with where they are in life. Because let's be real, someone who is truly fulfilled, someone who is working on themselves, someone who is focused on their own journey, they don't have time to be bitter about someone else's success. They don't feel the need to minimize it because they know what's meant for them is coming. They know that your success doesn't take anything away from them. But a jealous person, they think life is a competition. They think if you're winning, that means they're losing. They can't see the bigger picture because they're too busy comparing themselves to you. They see you rising, and instead of being inspired, they get resentful. They see you putting in the work, and instead of being motivated, they get bitter. Because it's easier for them to downplay your success than to admit that they've been holding themselves back. You ever notice how people will try to find something negative to say, even in the middle of your success? You just got a new opportunity, and instead of congratulating you, they say, well, let's see how long it lasts. You just reached a new level, and they go, yeah, but don't get too comfortable, things could change. That's jealousy speaking. That's their insecurity leaking through. Because deep down, they don't want to see you get too far ahead. They don't want to see you outgrow the version of you that they were comfortable with. They want you to stay at a level where they feel safe, where they feel like they can still keep up. And let me tell you something, you don't owe anybody that. You don't owe anybody the version of yourself that they were comfortable with. You don't have to dim your light to make somebody else feel better about their darkness. You don't have to shrink yourself to fit inside the small box they created for you. Your success is yours. Your growth is yours. And anybody who truly cares about you will recognize that. They won't try to downplay it. They won't try to dismiss it. They won't act like it doesn't matter. Because real supporters don't get insecure about your wins. They get inspired by them. Promote yourself as if no one's watching. So what do you do when you see this happening? What do you do when people start acting funny? When they start treating your success like it's nothing? When they start downplaying your hard work? You don't explain yourself. You don't try to convince them. You don't waste your energy looking for their approval. Because at the end of the day, your success is not up for debate. Your growth is not up for negotiation. You worked for it, you earned it, and you don't need validation from people who were never rooting for you in the first place. The truth is, some people are only comfortable with you when you're struggling. Some people only like you when you're on their level, when you're not shining too bright, when you're not making too much noise. But the moment you start elevating, the moment you start breaking barriers, the moment you start stepping into the person you were always meant to be, that's when they start showing their true colors. That's when they start distancing themselves. That's when they start throwing shade. Because it's not that they don't see your success, it's that they can't handle it. But that's not your problem. That's not your burden to carry. Your job is to keep growing, keep pushing, keep evolving. Your job is to surround yourself with people who truly celebrate you, who uplift you, who want to see you win. Because those are the people who deserve to be in your circle. The ones who don't minimize your success but magnify it. The ones who don't get jealous but get inspired. The ones who see you shining and say, keep going. Because those are the ones who understand what real success is all about. A jealous person watches you closely, studies your every move, pays attention to everything you do, but they'll never admit it. They'll never tell you that you inspire them, that they admire what you've built, that they secretly wish they had your drive, your discipline, your courage. Instead, they copy you. They mimic your style, your words, your ideas, your habits. But here's the thing, they will never give you credit. They will act like they came up with it all on their own, like they were always moving this way, like they didn't take pages from your book. That's jealousy disguised as competition. A person who is secure in themselves doesn't feel the need to copy. They don't feel the need to replicate what someone else is doing because they're too busy working on their own path, creating their own journey, building something that is uniquely theirs. But someone who is insecure, someone who sees you as a silent threat, they won't be able to help themselves. They'll watch you from a distance, observe how you carry yourself, how you think, how you move, and then they'll try to mirror it, thinking that if they imitate your success, they can take a shortcut to their own. But what they don't understand is that success isn't just about what you do, it's about who you are. It's about the mindset, the resilience, the perseverance behind it. You can copy someone's actions, but if you don't have the same foundation, if you don't have the same grit, the same heart, you will never get the same results. You ever notice how some people start changing the moment you elevate? How suddenly they start dressing like you, talking like you, making moves just like you? It's not a coincidence. They see you shining, they see you building, they see you stepping into something great, and they want to be a part of it, but they don't want to give you the respect that comes with it. So they copy in secret. They imitate behind closed doors, and then they present it as their own. Sit there and say, oh, they want the outcome without the process. They want the glory without the grind. But here's what they don't understand. You didn't get here by accident. You didn't wake up one day and suddenly have everything figured out. You worked, you struggled, you sacrificed, you stayed up when everybody else was sleeping. You pushed through when others would have quit. What you built didn't come from watching somebody else. It came from digging deep within yourself and refusing to settle. And that is something that can't be copied. That is something that can't be imitated. A jealous person will never acknowledge your influence, because to do so would be to admit that they see you as above them, that they recognize you as someone to look up to, and their pride won't allow that. Instead, they pretend like they've always had the same ideas, the same drive, the same mindset, but deep down they know where it came from. They know they were watching. They know they were paying attention. They know that before they saw you do it, it never even crossed their mind. And that's why they'll never say it out loud. Because to acknowledge you would be to admit that they needed you to show them the way. But listen, that's not your concern. That's not something you need to waste energy on. Because at the end of the day, imitation is a form of flattery, but it is not a path to true success. You can copy someone's moves, but you can't copy their spirit. You can take their strategies, but you can't take their passion. And that's why no matter how much someone tries to replicate what you do, they will never be able to replicate who you are. And you don't need to call them out. You don't need to expose them. You don't need to confront them about it. Just keep moving. Just keep evolving. Because the truth is, the more you grow, the harder it will be for them to keep up. They might copy you today, but can they keep copying you when you elevate again? Can they keep up when you switch lanes, when you level up, when you move into a space they've never seen before? No, they can't. Because they're not operating from authenticity, they're operating from insecurity. And anything built on insecurity will always crumble. So let them watch, let them copy, let them pretend. Because while they're busy trying to be you, you're too busy becoming the best version of yourself. And that's something no one can duplicate. That's something no one can take. Because real success doesn't come from imitation. It comes from originality, from hard work, from discipline, from that fire that burns inside of you. And if they don't have that, it doesn't matter how much they copy, they will never truly have what you have. There's something about success that exposes people. The moment you start doing better, the moment you start winning, people start revealing who they truly are. You don't even have to say anything. Just your progress alone makes people show their hand. Because when you were struggling, when you were still figuring things out, when you were in the same place as them, everything was fine. But the second you start elevating, the energy shifts. See, jealousy doesn't always show up as hate. It doesn't always come as an obvious attack. Sometimes it shows up in silence. Sometimes it's in the way they stop supporting you, the way they stop reaching out, the way they start acting different. You notice they don't clap for you anymore, they don't acknowledge your wins, they don't check in the way they used to. And it's not because they don't see what's happening. Trust me, they see it. They just don't want to celebrate it. A real friend, a real supporter, someone who truly wants to see you win, they don't go quiet when you succeed. They don't get distant when you start living in your purpose. They don't suddenly forget how to be happy for you. But a jealous person will act like your success is an inconvenience to them, like it's something they have to tolerate. They might not say it, but you can feel it. You can feel the way the energy changes. You can feel the way the conversations shift. What used to be love and encouragement now feels like tension and avoidance. And that's what you have to pay attention to, the absence of support, the silence that speaks louder than words. Because the truth is, if someone can't clap for you, they were never really for you in the first place. If someone can't celebrate your wins, then what were they really there for? You think about all the times you showed up for them, all the times you encouraged them, all the times you rooted for them, and now when it's your turn, they're nowhere to be found. Jealousy makes people move funny. It makes them act like they don't see you. They'll watch every move you make. They'll know exactly what's going on in your life, but they will never acknowledge it. They will scroll past your victories, ignore your good news, act like nothing has changed. And that's how you know, that's how you see the difference between the ones who are truly for you and the ones who were just around for convenience. And you know what? That's fine. Let them distance themselves. Let them remove themselves from your circle, because you don't need that energy around you. You don't need people who are secretly hoping you fail. You don't need people who only want to be connected to you when you're struggling. You deserve to be around people who genuinely want to see you win, who celebrate you without hesitation, who uplift you without jealousy in their hearts. Pay attention to the ones who disappear when you start rising. Pay attention to the ones who don't have anything to say when good things happen for you, because those are the ones who were never truly in your corner. Those are the ones who were comfortable when you were struggling, but can't handle it when you're succeeding. And the reality is, you don't have time to carry that dead weight. You don't have time to keep people around just because of history, just because of familiarity, just because you don't want to lose old connections. Let them go, let them be silent, let them remove themselves. Because the ones who are meant to be in your life, the ones who truly support you, they will always show up. They will always be there, clapping, cheering, pushing you forward. And those are the people you need to keep close. Because in the end, it's not about how many people are around you. It's about who is genuinely in your corner. It's about who is truly happy to see you win, who doesn't shrink when you shine, who doesn't get uncomfortable when you grow. So let the silence be what it is. Let it show you what you need to see. Because at the end of the day, the people who can't celebrate you don't deserve a seat at your table. They don't deserve access to the version of you that is thriving, evolving, becoming something greater. Keep going, keep growing, and let the ones who can't handle it fade into the background where they belong. People will smile in your face and doubt you behind your back. They will shake your hand, tell you they're proud of you, and the moment you walk away, they start whispering, they start questioning, they start picking apart everything you're doing. Not because you've done anything wrong, not because you're on the wrong path, but because your success forces them to look at themselves. And that's uncomfortable for a lot of people. See, when you start leveling up, when you start stepping into your purpose, when you start winning, it reminds people of all the things they haven't done. It reminds them of the potential they never stepped into, the dreams they let die, the excuses they've been making for years. And instead of being inspired, instead of using it as fuel, they let jealousy creep in. They let that resentment build. They start asking, why them and not me? Why are they making it and I'm not? And that kind of thinking, that kind of energy is dangerous, because jealousy will make a person go from a friend to a stranger, from a supporter to a critic, from someone who was in your corner to someone who is hoping you lose. You ever notice how people who once believed in you suddenly start doubting you the moment you start winning? When you were struggling, when you were just talking about your dreams, they were right there with you, encouraging you, telling you to go for it. But the moment you actually start making moves, the moment your words turn into action, the moment your action turns into results, suddenly they have questions. Suddenly they're skeptical. Suddenly they're telling you to be careful, to slow down, to not get ahead of yourself. It's not concern, it's doubt, it's insecurity. Because now that you're doing what they never had the courage to do, they have to find a reason to discredit it. They'll say you got lucky, they'll say it was timing, they'll say you had help, anything to make themselves feel better about why it's not them. But what they don't see, what they refuse to acknowledge, is the work, the hours, the sacrifice, the discipline, the moments when you wanted to quit but kept going anyway. Because it's easier to believe that you had an advantage than to accept that the only difference between you and them is that you didn't make excuses. And that's the thing about success. It doesn't just change your life, it changes your relationships. It reveals who people really are. Because the ones who truly support you, the ones who are genuinely happy for you, they don't get uncomfortable when you grow. They don't feel threatened when you win. They don't start questioning whether or not you deserve it. They celebrate with you. They push you further. They clap even louder. But the ones who never really wanted to see you win, they can't handle it. They can't pretend anymore. And their silence, their absence, their doubt, that tells you everything you need to know. See, jealousy doesn't always come with hate. It doesn't always come with anger. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it looks like a friend who suddenly has nothing to say about your success. Sometimes it looks like family members who used to be in your corner, but now they're distant. Sometimes it looks like people who act like they don't see what's happening, even though they're watching every move you make. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, you don't need that kind of energy around you. You don't need people who only supported you when you were struggling. You need people who are there for the journey, through the ups and the downs, through the failures and the victories. So let them doubt you. Let them question how you got there. Let them find every excuse in the world to explain why it's you and not them. Because while they're sitting back making excuses, you're out here making moves. While they're talking about what could have been, you're showing them what happens when you don't give up. And that's the difference. That's what separates those who win from those who stay stuck. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about who is willing to do the work, who is willing to keep going even when the odds are stacked against them, who is willing to bet on themselves even when nobody else does. And those same people who doubted you, those same people who questioned whether you deserved it, one day they're going to act like they always believed in you. One day they're going to act like they were always in your corner. Because that's what happens when you prove them wrong. That's what happens when you don't let their jealousy stop you. That's what happens when you refuse to let their doubts define you. So keep going. Keep proving them wrong. Keep showing them what happens when you don't let jealousy, doubt, or insecurity hold you back. Because at the end of the day, their doubts don't define you. Their jealousy doesn't stop you. Their silence doesn't take away from your success. The only thing that matters is that you keep moving forward, that you keep pushing, that you never let someone else's insecurities become your limitations. And when you do that, when you keep rising despite everything they throw at you, they'll have no choice but to watch. People will watch you struggle. They will watch you grind. They will watch you put in the work day after day, night after night, and they won't say a word. They won't check in. They won't ask how it's going. They won't show support. But the moment you make it, the moment you start winning, suddenly everybody has something to say. Suddenly everybody wants to talk about how you got there. And not in a way that lifts you up, not in a way that celebrates you, but in a way that questions whether you really earned it. See, jealousy doesn't show up when you're at the bottom. It shows up when you rise. It shows up when you start doing the things they said you couldn't do. It shows up when your reality makes them confront their own choices. Because your success is a mirror, it forces people to see the difference between where they are and where they could have been if they had made different decisions. And that's uncomfortable. That's why they start looking for reasons, why they start making excuses, why they start telling themselves that you must have had it easier, that you must have had connections, that you must have had some kind of advantage they didn't have. Because the truth is too painful to accept. The truth that the only difference between you and them is that you didn't quit. You ever notice how people suddenly become experts on your life the moment you start succeeding? People who were never there during the struggle, people who never put in a single ounce of work for what you built. Suddenly, they know everything about you. Suddenly, they have an opinion on how you got there. Suddenly, they feel the need to explain your success. But where were they when you were in the dark? Where were they when you were grinding in silence, when you were pushing through failure after failure, when you were questioning if it was even worth it? They were nowhere to be found. Because when you're struggling, when you're unknown, when you're just another person chasing a dream, nobody cares. But the moment you start winning, the moment your name starts carrying weight, the moment you start walking in your greatness, suddenly everyone is paying attention. And let me tell you something, that jealousy, that sudden interest, that doubt disguised as concern, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. Because when people see you succeed, they either feel inspired or they feel insecure. And the ones who feel insecure, they don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to process it. So they turn to jealousy. They start questioning. They start nitpicking. They start finding ways to minimize what you've done. Because if they admit that you earned it, if they admit that you built it, if they admit that you made it happen with no shortcuts, then they have to admit that they could have done the same thing. And that's a hard pill to swallow. So they will tell themselves whatever they need to in order to feel better. They will convince themselves that it wasn't really hard for you, that you had help, that it was just luck. Because the moment they admit that you worked for it, that you sacrificed for it, that you earned every single bit of success that's coming your way, then they have to admit that they have no excuse. And that's what they can't handle. That's why they move funny. That's why they act different. That's why the energy shifts. But you know what? Let them talk. Let them question. Let them doubt. Because at the end of the day, their opinions don't change the facts. Their jealousy doesn't erase your effort. Their bitterness doesn't take away from what you've built. You are where you are because you refuse to quit, because you refuse to settle, because you refuse to let fear and doubt hold you back. And no amount of gossip, no amount of negativity, no amount of silent envy can change that. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your success. You don't owe anyone an apology for winning. You worked for this. You sacrificed for this. You put in the hours. You stayed focused. You kept going when most people would have given up. And now that it's paying off, now that the results are showing, now that you're walking in the life you were always meant to have, you don't have to dim your light just because someone else is uncomfortable. See, the people who are truly for you, they celebrate you. They don't get quiet when you win. They don't get distant when you shine. They don't start acting different when things start going your way. They uplift you. They encourage you. They clap the loudest when you succeed. And those are the people you keep close. Those are the people you invest in. Those are the people who deserve to be in your circle. Because everybody claps when you struggle, but only the real ones clap when you win. So let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them feel however they need to feel. That's their battle, not yours. Your job is to keep moving, keep building, keep proving that you were never waiting for their approval in the first place. Because at the end of the day, jealousy doesn't stop progress. It doesn't stop success. It doesn't stop someone who is truly determined to win. It only stops the people who let it consume them. And you are not one of them. You never have been. You never will be. Jealousy is a silent enemy, moving in the shadows, creeping into conversations, slipping into glances, living in the spaces between words. It does not always come as loud hatred. Sometimes it comes as quiet doubt. Sometimes as fake support. Sometimes as a hesitant clap when you succeed. You can feel it. You can sense it. You know when someone is not happy for you. You know when someone is watching, not with admiration, but with resentment. And that is the reality of life. Not everyone will celebrate you. Not everyone will want to see you win. Not everyone will be clapping when you step into your greatness. See, people will pretend to support you as long as you are on their level, as long as you are not surpassing them, as long as your success is not forcing them to confront their own lack of progress. But the moment you start moving differently, the moment you start growing, the moment you start achieving things they only talked about but never acted on, their energy changes. Suddenly, they are distant. Suddenly, they have nothing to say. Suddenly, they are watching from the sidelines, but not with excitement, with discomfort. Because every step you take forward reminds them of how they have been standing still. Every dream you chase reminds them of the dreams they gave up on. Every win you have makes them wonder why they are not winning too. And that is what jealousy really is. It is not about you, it is about them. It is about their regrets, their insecurities, their fears. It is about the moments they let slip away, the chances they were too afraid to take, the risks they talked themselves out of. And instead of looking in the mirror, instead of asking themselves why they are not where they want to be, instead of putting in the work, they find it easier to project that frustration onto you. They find it easier to whisper, to gossip, to criticize, to doubt. Because if they can make your success look like luck, if they can make it seem like you had it easy, if they can convince themselves that you did not really earn it, then they do not have to face the truth that the only difference between you and them is that you did not quit. You did not stop when it got hard. You did not back down when the road was rough. You did not let fear win. You kept going when nobody was watching, when nobody was clapping, when nobody believed in you but yourself. And now that it is paying off, now that the results are showing, now that your hard work is turning into something real, some people just cannot handle it. They cannot bring themselves to say congratulations. They cannot bring themselves to be happy for you. They cannot bring themselves to acknowledge that you did what they were too afraid to do. But here is the thing, their jealousy is not your burden. Their insecurities are not your problem. Their doubts do not belong to you. You do not have to shrink yourself just to make them comfortable. You do not have to apologize for your success. You do not have to explain why you are winning. The truth is, you owe them nothing. Not a justification, not an explanation, not even a response. None. Let them watch, let them whisper, let them assume, let them tell themselves whatever they need to tell themselves to sleep at night. Because while they are sitting around trying to figure out why it is you and not them, you are too busy moving forward to even notice. And that is how you have to move in life, focused, unbothered, determined. You have to keep your eyes on your purpose, on your mission, on the things that matter. Because the moment you start worrying about who is jealous, who is talking, who is doubting, you take your eyes off your goal. And that is exactly what they want. They want you distracted. They want you questioning yourself. They want you caught up in their negativity, so you slow down. Do not give them that power. Do not let their jealousy take away from your joy. Do not let their insecurities become your distractions. Because at the end of the day, the people who are truly for you, they will never feel threatened by your success. They will never hesitate to celebrate you. They will never make you feel like you have to choose between growth and friendship. They will push you. They will uplift you. They will be right there, clapping the loudest when you win. And those are the people you need to keep around. Those are the people who deserve to be in your life. Those are the people who are secure enough in themselves to see you win without feeling like it takes anything away from them. So let the jealous ones go. Let the fake ones fade away. Let the doubters sit on the sidelines and watch. Because nothing they do, nothing they say, nothing they feel can stop what is meant for you. Your success is not in their hands. Your destiny is not in their control. Your purpose is not tied to their opinions. The only thing that matters is that you keep going, that you keep building, that you keep proving to yourself, not to them, to yourself, that you are capable of everything you once dreamed of. And one day, when they look back, when they see how far you have come, when they realize that all their jealousy, all their doubt, all their negativity did nothing to stop you, they will have no choice but to accept it. They will have no choice but to recognize that while they were too busy being envious, you were too busy being great. So now that you know the signs, what do you do about it? Simple. You keep moving. You stay focused. You don't waste energy trying to change people's hearts. You don't waste time trying to make them like you. Because jealousy is not about you. It's about them. It's about their insecurities, their fears, their own feelings of inadequacy. Your job is not to fix them. Your job is to keep growing, keep winning, keep elevating. Because at the end of the day, the best response to jealousy is success. The best way to handle envy is to keep proving to yourself over and over again that you are exactly who you were meant to be.